today is about canal irrigation and bridging the last mile in it. Mostly when we talk about canal irrigation, what we hear about is a new government scheme, a new dam being made, new canals being made, and we hear that there are a lot of delays, there's a lot of corruption, and new projects are constantly being announced and so on. But what is it like when you're at the other end, when you're a farmer who is receiving some of this canal water? What do you see and how does it actually work? The time it really needs to work is the drought, because that's when everybody is desperate for water. But what is it that farmers on the ground who are receiving this canal water, what is it that they face, what is it that they see? So this is what I'm basically a storyteller here, and the story that I share is the story that my colleagues here, Ritesh and Geeta, will come from the village. They're marginal farmers. A canal network, typically you can see that there's a dam over there, that's the blue color, right? And then you have this long canal coming out of it like that. Now that's a main canal, right? And from the main canal you have these branches coming out, and they are the branch canals. And typically from these branch canals, you have, it's not shown in the figure, but you'll have more canals coming out, and those are called distributaries. So this is not a hard and fast rule, in the sense you could have just one main canal and maybe just two branch canals, and then you could have a lot of distributaries and so on. But what we are going to be talking about is one particular distributary. So it's the last legs of the canal network. Right? You have the main canal which is carrying a lot of water, it's being transformed into branch canals, and then it comes to the distributary. So we'll be looking at a particular distributary in Tukur district, which is fed by this canal system. Now we've seen what this distributary looks like and what are the sort of structures that it's supposed to be feeding water to. In our case, we have 4 tanks, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we just call them 1, 2, 3, 4 for the purposes of this session. How long does it take if water is released here? For the water to reach this point, it will take about one whole day, about 24 hours. So if water is released over here, it takes, this is about 5 kilometers, so it will take about I think 3-4 hours to reach this point, another 3 hours or 4 hours to reach this point. So by the time it reaches here, it could be close to 24 hours sometimes. So this is our scene of action basically for the story that we're going to be talking about. We're essentially considering the drought of 2012, which was a very severe drought in this part of the district, I think in the whole district and large parts of Karnataka as well. It was the end of October, end of a very bad monsoon. People were desperate for water, and they knew that it wasn't going to rain through summer, it wasn't going to rain till June, so they had to somehow manage. What had happened is that this branch canal had water flowing in, and the water was released for some 30 days. When this drama starts, there were only 20 days left. See, this branch canal is supposed to feed these distributaries, but this distributary was not receiving any water from this branch canal, and there were only 20 days left. At which point they heard, the farmers in from these 4 tanks, they heard that, well, other distributaries above and below are receiving water from this branch canal. So when they heard that, they went to this they went to this escape gate here to find out why their distributary was not getting water. Why is it that they were being excluded? So that's where the story really starts. But before to get to the story, we need to know who the actors were. So we go over them. One is, of course, there were about 150 to 200 men who were gathered. They were all from these 4 tanks that were fed by the distributary. They had joined together to find out why the distributary was not getting any water. Apart from that, you had other farmers. One of these constant winners, which I briefly discussed, I'll talk to speak a little more about that later. And there were also some farmers who had there were smaller tanks that their villages belonged to, and they were not connected to this distributor. They were lying close to the distributor, but they were not connected to it. So they had no escape case leaving in their tanks. The major players are of course always the politicians. So in this case we had one MLA, we call him the MLA of S, and the Member of Parliament of our district. They were key players. There is of course the irrigation department, which is supposed to be managing this whole tax system, managing this whole canal system. Now the irrigation department has what is called the work supervisor. The work supervisor takes care of day-to-day running of the distributary. That's his job. But above him is the assistant engineer and the executive engineer. Now in all cases they were key participants, but only to the extent that they could be influenced, right, to do things that the political players wanted them to do. So these are the chief 5 categories of actors that came into this drama, and we just need to keep track of them because all the conversations were between these actors. I was talking about the constant winners. The constant winners we had already looked at. They have low-lying land. They just have to put a pipe in the canal and the water flows into their tank. These are the luckiest because they don't even need power. You just have a pipe and you'll have water flowing out. There are others in which that is not so simple. So what they would do is they would construct a kind of shabby bridge, and they would have, this is not clearly visible, this is a submersible pump, right? You can actually just put it in the canal and it will lift water out of the canal. So you're using power, it will work only when there is power. But this is also, again, unauthorized use. But they're also lucky guys, because whenever there is power, they'll get water. They can be sure of that. The way they operate is they actually have small barriers in the canal. You can see that here. You can see they've put some stones, there's low barriers. That temporarily raises the water level. So that helps them pump water out of the tank. You will have something like this every 50 or 100 meters, let us say. Okay? So all the people who are living in these kind of areas, especially in the head reaches of the canals, they're just taking water even in a drought, even though it's unauthorized, right? They're just going to win all the time. You can't shut them off because you can tell them not to do it right now. So the moment you turn your back, they can just go back to doing what they're doing. And at night they can just come back and put the pipe in again, even if they're being told not to. These are the people that are constantly. In fact, in this way, about 1/4 of the water that flows in the canal is just lifted out of the canal. 1/4 is the estimate we had. Not measured estimate, but yes, something like this is what. So that's why some of the tailenders, if there is the flow in the canal is very low, you don't even want to go and try to get water for your tank, because you know that along the way all these people are going to lift the water up, and there's no point in you wasting time on that. So this is where the drama begins. This is, so as far as I can, this is just a 20-day drama. Once the 20 days are over, the branch canal will stop receiving water and there's no water to worry about, there's no drama to add. But the first day what people did was, they went to this site and said, look, why is the branch canal water not entering our distributor? And this is what the work supervisor had to say. He said, look, I have no order to release water to your distributor. This is in a situation where distributaries above and below are already receiving the water. We know that. That's the reason why these people went there. He says, well, I have no order to release. So what we do is we went all the way to the district headquarters. We met the Member of Parliament. We told him, look, this is the situation. What he does is he calls the irrigation department. He tries to find out what's happened. And the reason given by the irrigation department is that water is released into the branch canal only for the drinking purposes of a particular town below. Right? Now it's hard to believe that water in a time of drought, which has been released into the branch canal, is going to be used only for drinking of a particular town. Right? Everybody along the way must be picking up and taking it out. And there is no reason to believe that this particular town will only use it for drinking, it will use it for various other purposes. So it's a bit of an unbelievable statement to make. So then the Member of Parliament of course knows what to say, and he says, well, these people want it for drinking too, so why don't you release water? Don't follow the rules literally. I mean, whatever little water is there, let's share it with everybody who's there. So since he said that and he had talked to the irrigation department, he told us, okay, now you go back to this escape gate and ask them to. And when you go there, you'll find that they've released water. So when they went back there, the work supervisor said, sorry, I still have no order to release water to your distributary. Then what did we do? We went back, we called the Member of Parliament and he called the irrigation department again, and then he told us, look, the assistant engineer will come right there and he will release the water. Just wait. So we waited for about an hour, but there was no assistant engineer inside, nobody came. All these people who gathered at this place, 150, 200 of them, they left their homes early in the morning and been going to this place, then went to the district headquarters, came back here, it was past noon, it was probably around 1 or 2 p.m. They were still waiting, water had not been released. What happened next is that finally the assistant engineer arrived. But at the same time, this MLA also showed up. Right? Now it was very curious because nobody had asked the MLA to come and he had come there. Why did he come? We don't know why he came. In fact, in his constituency, none of these tanks belong to his constituency except the last one, except the tank number 4. All the other tanks weren't even part of his constituency, but still he came. And he started shouting at the AE and he said, look, you should release water immediately, you are not getting so on. So finally the assistant engineer ordered that the escape gate be raised. It was to be raised by some 15 threads or something like that. So the MLA was not happy. He said, no, you have to raise it some more, otherwise water will not reach the tail end. Okay? And he said, the people want the water, so you have to do it. But the assistant engineer said, look, I have strict instructions because this is a time of drought, this is all I am allowed to do, I cannot increase it any further. But the MLA just got the better of him and had the escape gate raised further. You might wonder why I am getting into so much detail about this. But as the story unravels, you'll see why it's important, why these little incidents are important. In fact, this became a big incident later on. So finally, so the water had been released, we decided to wind up and return. And what we saw was that the MLA was taking a photo of the assistant engineer with this, showing that he had contravened the instructions. He had raised the gate higher than it was allowed to be raised. And this is very funny behavior. And we were standing there, couldn't really figure out exactly what's going on, but this is what went on. After that, of course, we began to quarrel amongst ourselves. We want the water first. There are 4 tanks on the line, and there's only so much water coming through. There's only 20 days left. So we want water first, we want water first. But the leaders among them said that they reached a compromise. They said there will be a quota of 5 days for each of the 4 tanks. So that adds up to 20 days in all. The first tank will get the first 5 days water, the second tank will get the next one, and so on and so forth. So that was settled. And for the first 5 days there was no problem. It was the 6th day that something else happened. Because what happened was this tank number 1 had received its water. It was not full, but it had received 5 days of water. So the tank number 2 people went to this escape gate because they had shut it down. Only if this gets shut down, water will flow further down. All the water at this point is only entering this tank. So only if you shut this, can the water go on, and then you can open this escape gate and you go into the next tank. So when they went there, some other people came and said, look, you try to close this escape gate and we'll beat you up. And the reason was that they had a tank, which I have not shown here, which was a much smaller tank. And whenever this tank overflowed, that little tank would fill up. So they were interested that this first tank overflow and their tank get some water, and only then they were willing to go. So the second time people tried to tell them, look, we had an agreement, this thing is set, nothing going, they were ready to kill. So what they had to do finally was go to the police, file a complaint, and then they had to have police presence at this escape gate to ensure that the water went further down in the next tank. For 5 days the water entered the second tank, no problem. Then on day 11 again something has happened. The second tank had its water. Now the escape gate there has to be closed and the third tank escape gate has to be open. But just as a goodwill gesture, the third tank people told the fourth tank people, look, you take the water first, right? And then the last 5 days we will take. This is just an agreement between us. This was a goodwill gesture because the people from the fourth tank had struggled a lot on the first day. They had brought food for everyone. They had taken a lot of trouble and interest. So the water, as soon as it reached the fourth tank, suddenly it was shut off. Why? Well, we had to go back to the escape gate, right, where the distributary starts, and meet the work supervisor. The work supervisor told us there was a complaint by the MLA saying that on the first day extra water has been let into your distributary, which is against the rules. So we have shut off water into your distributary. So then again we called the Member of Parliament to find out why this has happened. He called the AE, and then the AE was able to tell him exactly what had happened. What had happened really was that the MLA had taken a photo, gone to the irrigation department. Even though he had instigated the whole thing, he made a complaint over there saying that the AE had done this, and that's the reason why. But the other point was that although he had increased the flow, as soon as the people left, the flow was reduced to whatever the allowed value was. It was just a show. It was just a little bit of a drama that he had enacted over there. But as a result of that, the flow was stopped. So then the MP called up the higher authority in the irrigation department, told them, look, this excess was politically motivated. It had nothing to do with people, right? So they shouldn't be penalized for something that the MLA was trying to do. The next day, fine, the fourth tank people were very cautious. They had 10 people at each of the escape gates, which were at the first three tanks, because none of the tanks had filled up. So there was every reason to believe that anybody would come and try to divert water into their tank. So they had 10 people stationed there. What that means is that all through the night, those people would be just sitting there to ensure that nobody comes and tries to lift the escape gate. So they had done all that and they were waiting for the water to come. The water did come for a day, right? But then what happened is there was another tank somewhere here. I'm not shown that again. Again a very small tank. And what the same MLA did was he went and told them, look, if you dig a channel to this distributary, you can also get water. Why don't you do that? Now everybody is starved with water. So if there is a chance of getting water, people will go ahead and do it. So immediately what this village did was they hired an earth mover. They dug a channel which was about 1 kilometer long, because the MLA assured that if you dig it and there's water flowing in the distributary, they can see that. So they went and did that. These are all unauthorized shafts. I mean, they are not supposed to be asking, because the design is like this that it's supposed to feed only those full tanks. Finally, the people at the fourth tank got tired, because there seemed to be too many obstacles in water reaching their tank. So they told the third tank people, look, you take your turn, we'll forget about our turn. So the small tank people were also denied, because even though they dug the channel, these people opened their escape gate and the water started going to the third tank. Now, there was another drama on what happened at the third tank. The third tank would also not fill up. Just like all the other tanks, they would also not fill up. But there were some youth, overeager youth in the village of the third tank. They didn't tell anybody, they didn't inform anyone. They went in the middle of the night to this point, the escape gate that releases water to the distributary, and they tried to raise the level over there. This is a non-trivial task. You have to take welders and so on and so forth, and because the system is locked against interference by anyone. So they went there and at night they did this. Next morning the AE came and he discovered it. So immediately he was very annoyed and he just shut off the flow into the distributor. We wanted to regroup, we wanted to go back, talk to them, we say that, we want to do this against this, that, the other, and so on. But by the time we could do that, the main canal, which is, this is the branch canal, the main canal is going somewhere many, many kilometers away, that itself breached. And so there was no water entering our district at all. So the drama ended prematurely. It should have gone on for another 5 days. It stopped over there. This is what has happened in a year of when the need for water was most acute. In other years, you don't expect this much of drama or this much of problem. There will be some, but you don't expect to this extent. So what we learn from this is that when people need the water the most, even if you struggle for it, even if you run around all over, it's not necessary that you get